Hello, welcome. My name is Carol Starr, and I am one of the leaders of the Brain Injury Advisory Council of the Brain Injury Association of America. All of us here are brain injury survivors. We come to you from across the country, and all of us have come together to use our experiences as brain injury survivors to make a difference. We added it up, and collectively, all of us, we have about 150 years of experience as brain injury survivors. And we use that experience individually in our own states and collectively as a group, as educators, as advocates, as mentors, that we really want to make a difference in the lives of other brain injury survivors. We've been there. We want to help other people through things like this video series that we're doing. So we wanted to start out by introducing ourselves. As I mentioned, I'm Carol Starr. I'm coming to you from Maine, and I had a brain injury in 1999. I want to start with my co-leader, Kelly,
Hi, I'm Kelly Lang. I live in Virginia and I had my brain injury in 2001.
and Angela.
Hey guys, I'm Angela Lee Tucker. I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and my car crash happened in 2008.
Kaz.
Hi everyone, I'm Cazoshay Marie. I am located in Phoenix, Arizona, and I've been living with brain injury since 2017.
Darcy.
Hi, I'm Darcy Keith. I live in Indiana, and my brain injury occurred in 1991.
And our other Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly Pokrivka. I am in Virginia, and my brain injury occurred in 2013.
Josh.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh and I'm living in New Hampshire and I've been living with a brain injury since 2003.
And Stacia.
Hi everyone, I'm Stacia Bissell. I am talking to you from Western Massachusetts, and my brain injury occurred in 2011.
And now, Kaz and Stacia are going to talk about point six. Having a chronic condition does not mean a person will have a low quality of life.
When I was injured and I was, 14 years ago, as mentioned, I don't remember anyone talking to me after my brain injury occurred about how my life would be up and down, mostly down for a
Mhm.
while, before rebuilding to a higher quality of life once again.
Mhm.
So I was on this journey to learn, while things were very different in my life. I lost a career I loved, for example. Eventually trying new activities and meeting new people, especially those who were more understanding and compassionate. It really helped to increase the quality of my life once again.
Mhm.
So that was my experience. I don't know if you had a similar take on that.
I do actually quite similar. It was really the same thing, especially really not knowing all that a brain injury entails. The same thing, I didn't know that there were going to be ups and downs, and because there were so many
Mm.
downs, it made it seem like that was just going to be my permanent state. And
Yeah.
even when there are a lot of downs, even at this point in my journey, my brain injury occurred in 2017. I'm coming up on my anniversary actually this month.
Wow.
Um,
My gosh.
yeah, I came to realize that really, even if you are experiencing a lot of negatives, your situation doesn't have to equal your satisfaction. Um, even if there are negative things that you are experiencing, you can, as you mentioned, you can still find joy. You can still find other things that you can do, even though there's a lot that you can't do. And that can even kind of be a kind of fun and interesting process as well, to see, okay, so who am I now in this season of my life, and look at it more as a positive, as an adventure of, maybe I can't do everything I used to be able to do, but there are still some things
Mhm.
that I can do and that I can still have a positive and good quality of life.
Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. I love what you said, about that. And it is this is such an important talking point, because like all the things you were saying, but because, there are millions of people who have lifelong disabilities or conditions, and it does not mean that life is over, whether it's diabetes or a brain injury or a knee replacement or an autoimmune disease. It's imperative that people continue to have new experiences,
Mhm.
probably in modified ways, to build new skills and new memories. And along those lines, these help build a stronger brain by constructing new neural pathways. Those new experiences do that. And it also helps build a stronger spirit, I think, on your journey.
Mhm.
So my advice is to engage in something new, a language, an activity, a gentle sport,
Mhm.
learn a new game or puzzle, or acquire a new computer skill.
Mhm.
Um, and really gather good people around you. I said this earlier too, who offer more value to your circle.
Yes, that is so true. That's one of the most important aspects. And I would say, looking back, something that
Mhm.
I wish I had done differently especially during my initial time period, not having experience with brain injury, I think it really would have been helpful for me to connect not only with people within the brain injury community, but I feel like to a certain extent, because of what I was experiencing, I really isolated myself. And I think that definitely ended up having a negative effect and probably in the long run really kind of slowed down my healing in a lot of ways. Definitely slowed down my healing emotionally, going through those things by myself, not wanting to
Mhm.
share the things. But yes, this talking point really just solidifies and further shares that it is important to find that community to reach out that's really going to help you along that journey in so many ways.
Well said. I'm really glad you hit on that isolation piece too at first and learning to grow your circle. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, this talking point for me also brought up that you really have more control within your brain injury journey than you realize. That was one thing I really struggled with, and I think a lot of survivors do as well, that it feels like so much that happens to us, so much that we're experiencing is outside of our control. But when we realize that, again, even though you may not be able to do all the things that you used to do, you can find ways to find ways to do things that you do enjoy. Maybe they're not the same, and as you mentioned, maybe you have to modify them, but you have
Mhm.
control over your situation and your journey than you may realize.
Absolutely. I'm really happy that you talked about that because we've all had to learn. We weren't expecting to have our brain injuries, whatever event caused it, but we certainly had to learn to advocate for ourselves and figure out what we can do. And that's the whole point here. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed discussing this talking point with you, Stacia. You had so many amazing insights, and I'm so excited and hope that everyone that watches our video gets something out of it and is encouraged by what we shared today.
Thanks, Cass.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaz and Stacia, for all of your insightful words. So now we have an opportunity to hear from Kelly and Angela to offer some additional takeaways about having a chronic condition doesn't mean a person's going to have a low quality of life. Take it away, Kelly and Angela.
Well, I thought this video was awesome. I totally agree with Cazoshay's comment. Even if you're experiencing a lot of negatives, your situation doesn't have to equal satisfaction. We can still find joy. The early days of my recovery was the toughest time of my life, but I've always looked for silver linings. For example, a year after my injury, I returned to independent living in New York City, and I began to set up lunch dates with former work colleagues and clients, asking them to remind me of who I was to them. It was an adventure to rediscover this former self. Kelly, how about you?
I thought all of the conclusions were really great, and I think getting a prognosis that is really scary and can be lifelong is terrifying. I think if I knew in my early days that, you know, 13 years later at this point, I would be making this video and I would be in
Mm.
excruciating pain, unbearable symptoms, I don't think I would have thought my life was worth it. And now I know that couldn't be further from the truth. I have so many amazing things that I found in spite of and because of my brain injury. And even with a terrifying, diagnosis and something that impacts me in such an extreme way every single day, I am still so grateful and so lucky to be here. And it can be so scary, but it is also definitely worth it. And you will find so much from your life, just like you would have if you did not have a brain injury.
Here, here.
Thank you. Be sure to watch our Survivor to Survivor videos of all 12 points from the Communicating About Brain Injury statement.
Thank you all for spending time with us today. Goodbye.